Hello, Bill Colazzi here. We're jumping into a Legacy Cube draft. Let's see what we get. First pack. Karn. Yeah, that's got to be it here. We've got Karn, which is solid value, goes into any deck, except maybe the most aggressive of like mono red or mono white decks. Just solid Planeswalker. And Splinter Twin for the combo piece. Go infinite, kill your opponent with Pestermite or Deceiver Exarch. And a couple good green cards. I really enjoy Hornet Queen, especially in the Legacy Cube. It's so hard to deal with this many creatures. 5 creatures, all with Death Touch. And they have evasion, so they can kill your opponent. They can block a million creatures. Kodama's Reach. Really amazing ramp here and card advantage. But yeah, happy to see Karn, and we'll pick that up. Alright, Karn, let's move over. Move over, Karn. New additions, vehicles, always kind of cool. Better in aggressive decks. The pick here, Dragonlord Silumgar. Steal your opponent's big Planeswalker. This is not a league, so any card we cut we won't have to play against. It's like if you were to sit down and do a live draft, that's kind of how this would be. Bitter Blossom. Definitely amazing art and a solid card. Especially if you can pair it with opposition or some kind of thing. But yeah, let's slam Silumgar. The better your opponent's deck is, the better this guy gets. And everyone's going to have a sweet deck. Now we're looking for some ramp. We got to get up to these amazing cards. Emrakul, not really ramp. And this pack is kind of weak overall. We are leaning towards black and blue. Certainly leaning towards control. Johnny's kind of good in an aggressive deck. Dramoka is another solid card that's hard, especially for aggressive decks to beat. Might be Emrakul here. Generally, you'll get a lot of types into your graveyard. You can cast it for 10 or 9. But yeah, maybe that's it. If there was a better dual land here, these are the fast lands that are kind of the new lands of this version of the Legacy Cube. But there's still the dual lands and the fetch lands that are better fixing. So I'll take Emrakul here. Again, the better your opponent's deck is, the more options they have, the better this card gets for you. Alright, the best ramp is in green. So maybe with these first few picks, we're thinking about going into a Sultai deck. And we could take Mystic Snake to help get there. Avenger of Zendikar, another good high-end card. We already have a few of those. And Knight of the Reliquary, double off color again. Doesn't fit as well if you're not playing a lot of forests and plains. So it could be that, or it could be Compulsive Research. Ooh, that looks like a good one actually. It works well with Emrakul the Promised End. It means we might not have to play any green. And just a solid card here. Gurmag Angler, good too. The Angler's a little worse because it doesn't work so well with Emrakul since you're exiling your graveyard. And it's kind of vanilla, so it doesn't do as much as like Dragonlord Silumgar, which is a built-in 2-for-1. Even though it's a good raid, it's still just vanilla. Entomb. Entomb works with Silumgar, it works with Emrakul if we're playing a reanimation strategy. We don't have the reanimation part yet, but it also gets an instant and maybe another type into your graveyard to help ramp out Emrakul. Kind of neat here. Phyrexian Metamorph also pretty great. If your opponent resolves something good, you can at least match them. And if you resolve something good, you can kind of get there. Based on this, I'm going to go with the Metamorph. If we had the reanimation piece, then Entomb would be a little more appealing there. But we don't have it yet, so we're just going to have to deal with what we do have. Ancient Tomb. Just about perfect. If we can get Karn down 1 turn sooner, or Emrakul, then that's just a huge advantage. Thirst for Knowledge, pretty similar to Compulsive Research. There aren't so many artifacts, so it's a little less reliable, but instant speed is also nice. Now I'll get the Ancient Tomb here. There's not a lot of premium mana lands, like Ramp, so this is one way to get ahead of the curve. Daze, I love it, Daze. Yeah, if we were heavy into Sultai, Blooming Marsh would be fine. And Shaman helps cast Emrakul, but it doesn't really help cast Karn or anything. And I do love a Daze, so let's take it. Pretty hard to play against. Dark Petition, Elder Deep Fiend with this Emerge cost, and Slaughter Pact. Well, sometimes your opponent goes off and tries to win the game with a combo with Splinter Twin or something. You're tapped out, they think you have no outs, and you've got Slaughter Pact. Yeah, given that we're blue-black, this is a nice card to pick up. Just make sure you can pay, or else you're going to lose. You know, this is one of the better free spells because the payment isn't that expensive. You know, you only have to have 3 mana. Overgrown Tomb, Splinter Twin, but we're not really heading in this direction. And Kodama's Reach. I'd be happy with a lot of these. I guess it'd be nice if we got Overgrown Tomb and Kodama's Reach. But I'm going to go for the Kodama's Reach here. We have a lot of these cards that work so well if we can get some ramp. And it is possible we get green. We don't know what will be passed in the next packs. Alright, Thicket, Revelation is back, Copter. Copter's good for a couple of reasons. It lets us discard to help out with our, you know, card types in the graveyard. It is an artifact itself if we discard that. Might be Deep Analysis. We have one good way to draw cards, and this one's good to loot away too. You get to draw cards later. I'll take that. Get some analysis going. Ooh, Sorin Markov and Stroke of Genius. Not a lot left in this pack for us. Not sure if Sorin Markov is going to be good. Obviously this guy's great, but it's triple black, kind of hard to cast. We already have enough card draw without the Stroke though, and it's more likely we play Markov than put red in our deck at this point. Sure, Delver. Not really a Delver deck. So we need more cards to help in the early game. And cards that aren't 1/1s, that rarely flip. Liliana, I guess that kind of helps out in the early game. Cathartic Reunion, also pretty interesting, but we kind of passed the red fixing there, so it's less likely we would go into red. Analysis. Usually you consider the Metamorph as a 3-drop, but sometimes you have extra mana laying around. You can pay the full price for it. Bad sign to get 2 off-color cards last picks. Bruna, certainly interesting. I've never seen Brisella in live Magic or online. The combination there. But I'm sure it's happened before. What now? Time Warp? Wormcoil Engine, solid. Living Death, though this isn't really the deck for it. Thragtusk is cool. Any fixing? No fixing here. And Frost Titan. Yeah, so some good options here. Narrowing it down to Wormcoil Engine, Time Warp, and Frost Titan. And of these, the Engine is just kind of the most reliable. Yeah, Remove Soul would be nice if it wheels. The other thing about taking the Engine is it's definitely not going to wheel, but we might be able to wheel one of these blue cards, even though it's one of the best colors, the most sought-after colors in the cube. Oh no, Sneak Attack? 3 really powerful cards here. Nicol Bolas, Liliana of the Veil, which is most likely the pick here, and Sneak Attack, which could be the pick. Despite not having the fixing, sneaking a Wormcoil Engine into play is strong, and if we pick up the other Emrakul, that also gets good. I'll take Liliana. Kind of a good one. Ooh, Recurring Nightmare. One of the best cards with Recurring Nightmare is this Wormcoil Engine. And we didn't get that in Tomb, but it's early enough in Pack 2 that we can kind of build around this. Any kind of stupid little creatures we get can help bring out our bigger guys. Yeah, powerful card. Kodama's Reach on the sidelines for now. Another powerful one, Keranos, and a Theomancer. This is exactly what you want to see with Recurring Nightmare, because you get these snakes every turn. You can keep using those as the fodder for the Nightmare. And it's just so hard to deal with. Even if you get one snake off this and they trade it with removal, that snake has Death Touch and it's just going to trade. It's just a built-in 2-for-1, and a lot of times it's better than that. Alright, Far and Away, or Phantasmal Image. Yeah, this deck loves a Phantasmal Image. It works well with Recurring Nightmare, and all the creatures that work well with Recurring Nightmare. So, pretty easy pick here. Even though it's kind of fragile, if you copy a Wurmcoil Titan and have to sacrifice that, that's actually really good for you. Seagate Oracle. Yeah, we have a lot of 3-drops, but the Oracle is just so good in Cube. Happy to pick that up. Deceiver Exarch. We can cut this from the table since there's no other card in this pack. The Ratchet Bomb is a nice sideboard card against a bunch of tokens, but it's possible we play the Exarch, and we don't want to be Splinter Twinned out. We won't always have our Slaughter Pact in hand to deal with that. Ooh, Counterspell, perfect. An early play, we leave up Daze and counter magic and build towards our late game. And once we have our late game in play, we don't want them to deal with it, so Counterspell is just great. 2 mana, counter magic. Beautiful. Alright, let's see if we can get some mana cost sorting going. So right now we have a lot of 3-drops. The first cut, well, Compulsive Research is probably not a cut because that's a good way to get expensive creatures into the graveyard. The Liliana Heretical Healer, while pretty good with reanimation strategies and stuff, is a little worse than our other 3-drops right now. Deep Analysis could be a cut, but right now we're doing pretty great. Still, we need to pick up some 2-drops and some 1-mana interaction. Time Warp is back, so one of these guys did wheel Gray Merchant. If we are so heavy black, that's a nice one to use with Recurring Nightmare. And we are pretty heavy black. We do have Sorin Markov and a couple Lilianas. Then there's Living Death. But so far, we didn't take the Entomb effect. We might not be a Living Death deck. I'll take Gray Merchant here. And then move everything up the mana curve. Alright, Geralf's Messenger. Perfect follow-up to Gray Merchant. The Gifts Ungiven would be good with that Living Death, because you just get to put 2 creatures into your graveyard, then the next turn you bring everything back. And this is very expensive in black, but pretty great if you are doing the devotion thing. It's even possible we just cut blue altogether. Or have very light blue. So that would mean cutting like Daze, considering Phantasmal Image as a later game clone. And then Counterspell might not be as good, but still pretty solid. A little too early to tell exactly the direction we're going, but it does seem that Black Devotion is open, so we'll keep an eye on that. Passing to a Doctor. Ooh, Volcanic Island. That's late. Don't mind 3-mana counter magic in general, but here it's a little, I don't know, underwhelming since we're not heavy blue and we've got a million 3-drops already. Okay, let's cut the Badlands because it might disincentivize people from going into black rather than the usually better Volcanic Island. Get a look at these booster packs here. You've got Tamiyo, the original and best Tamiyo, the Moon Sage. So what does this deck need? Yeah, just basically 2-drops. High Devotion to Black 2-drops. That is what we need. Olivia Voldaren. Well, we have the land for it. And Lightning Greaves. Lightning Greaves is pretty cool with Recurring Nightmare, because this doesn't target, so the Shroud doesn't matter for that. And you get to attack with what you bring the turn you bring it in. So that could be good. We don't have much to do on turn 2 anyway. Not the worst pickup. Sacrifice a creature. Yeah, that works. Careful Study and Far and Away, both amazing cards for this deck. I'll take Far and Away because it's a little more reliable. And Wretched Confluence. Yeah, fine. Pretty easy to take that, draw some cards, kill some creatures. It'd be nice to have a few more ways to get stuff into the graveyard for cheap, but Far and Away is just always going to be useful, even if we don't have blue mana. So what can we pick up here? I like Vampire Hexmage. If there's a pesky Planeswalker that we don't have many ways to deal with, this can just take it out for 2 mana. And there are a lot of Planeswalkers running around. And it's got good Devotion to Black. It's an early creature to use with Recurring Nightmare. And we just don't have 2-drops. Certainly not enough of them. Cool Scalding Tarn, but not much else for this deck, so easy. Who said drafting was hard? Alright, Creeping Tar Pit and Bloodghast. I imagine the Bloodghast wheels anyway. Most people aren't interested in this. And yeah, I mean, it's fine, but I'll go for the Tar Pit just to help our mana out. Kalitas. Oh no, Ugin too. And Gilded Lotus. So it's gotta be Ugin. Just surviving until we can cast Ugin is an easy way to win the game. Gilded Lotus is another way to get up to that mana. No way this wheels, but I think we're okay taking Ugin here. Kalitas has the highest chance of wheeling of these 3, and even though it would be pretty good in our deck, I can't pass an Ugin. It's just another Karn. Oh, it sucks that it's in the same pack with Lotus, though. If we could get both of those, that'd be ideal. So, crossing our fingers. There's so many decks that can't deal with Ugin at all. In fact, we have some of the best ways to deal with Ugin. Hexmage, Karn, Silumgar. Just steal your opponent's Ugin. Alright, what is going on with this pack? We've got Victimize, which it does a pretty bad impression of Recurring Nightmare, but still a powerful effect because that effect is so ridiculous. Bring 2 creatures back. They come back tapped, which is 1 disadvantage, and you only get to use this once as another disadvantage. So we're going to need something like Skinrender. It's good for Devotion to Black, so Grey Merchant hurts a little more. And it's also amazing with Recurring Nightmare because it has this enter the battlefield effect. This looks like an alien. Ooh, okay. Dark Confidant to take 13 off of our Emrakul. Such a liability in draft. I don't usually like it. There's Master of Waves too. And our Devotion to Black, or Blue, isn't too large, but it's still fine a lot of the time. The other thing we could take is this Zealous Conscript. We have a little bit of fixing for red, and this is another card that goes infinite and kills you with Splinter Twin or Kiki Jiki. So if we take this off the table, that's probably just best for us. We already have enough playables as well. Between the chance of us playing this and the downside of playing against it, that's a good pick here. They just take your Ugin and -7 it or whatever they need to kill Ugin. And there's nothing you can do about it. Or Sorin, put you down to 10 life and pass it back. Oh, that's a good card to get right now. Dark Ritual. Nothing we have nothing to do turn 1, and we have a million things to do on turn 3, and this just lets us get out like a Liliana turn 1. So yeah, pretty happy about that. I'm going to put the Heretical Healer in the sideboard for now. Spellskite would be another good sideboard card. So would Nykthos. Relic is annoying to play against. I'm going to take Gifted Aetherborn because it's good devotion, trades with a lot of things, and it has lifelink, so it will help us survive to the late game. Oh, that's a little rough, though. We have enough playables here, and Nykthos can help us cast a pretty early Ugin. Okay, I've changed my mind. We do have all of this top end here, and it's just going to make it a lot easier for us to cast it if we take Nykthos. Yeah, alright. I'm convinced. Wow. Coalition Relic. We missed out on the Gilded Lotus, but this is probably just better than Gilded Lotus. It helps us fix for blue, which we might need to do. And it ramps up 2. Easy pick here. Show and tell. Shout out to this to get your... It doesn't put Planeswalkers into play, so it's not as good in our deck, but it could put Emrakul into play. Also, shout out to Gitaxian Probe. I'll put that in any deck, but I think Coalition Relic is just stronger here. Fiery Confluence. Ridiculous card for the mono-red deck. I'll cut it here. I don't want to take a double blue card. Kind of focusing on Devotion to Black. Stronghold, although I'd rather just use Recurring Nightmare. So we can take... Well, we don't need Phyrexian Rager, but I'll take that. Kalitas... No. Gilded Lotus is back? Is everyone drafting aggro? Like... I guess there were other cards in that pack, but that's crazy. Definitely taking it here. Sorry, Kalitas, but we've got bigger fish to fry. Take Reaches. Tidehollow Sculler, but other people aren't necessarily in black. Confidant. It's a late Planeswalker. And this guy. I could see siding this in against a heavy equipment deck because you can just target a creature wearing equipment and it sheds the equipment. It doesn't have much use besides that. I mean, pretty good against Wormcoil Engine, I guess. Pretty good answer to it. But that's a funny card to include here. It's new in this version. Alright, so what are we doing here? Dark Confidant. Yeah, it's too scary to play Dark Confidant in this deck. We're probably not playing any double red or double blue cards besides Counterspell, which is just so good. Green is not good. I mean, Kodama's Reach is great, but you never want to splash for your fixing. Like, that kind of defeats the purpose. Also, never say never, but what are you going to do? Okay, so let's see exactly what we need in this deck, starting with what to cut. Greaves could be an easy cut. Whoops, not that. Where did it go? There it is. And we need a few more cuts here. So what happens if we cut Seagate Oracle, Deep Analysis, Counterspell as much as it pains me to do so in Daze. Those are pretty easy to leave behind here. And Phantasmal Image is going to be good at any point in the game. Compulsive Research also, and Silumgar. We have a couple ways to get it back for free. So as long as the blue isn't too hard to splash, this looks pretty good. Coalition Relic also helps. We do have a lot of red fixing, and Zealous Conscripts is fine, but I think the blue here is going to be better and make it more consistent. So instead of playing like one mountain, we'll play 1 or 2 islands. Yeah, a lot of good blue cards in the sideboard, but I think our Devotion is just going to be a better way to go. Alright. It suggests 4 islands. It's probably too many, but we'll see. I mean, we do have a solid 3 blue cards, and we have 2 other ways to fix for blue. Just cut 2 of these, put in Creeping Tar Pits, or Tar Pit and Ancient Tomb. And you know what? I'm going to try this Tower of the Magistrate. We'll see how good it is. Is there anything else we need? We need more types of cards. And I think we do want a full 17 lands. Because we have so little to do in the early games, we don't want to be stuck there. Sure. Dark Confidant would be something else to do in the early game, but we have all this high end that we don't want to reveal to it and just kill ourselves. Karn, yeah, this deck is starting to look good. We just need to draw Dark Ritual turn 1. Oh, Nykthos, forgot about that. So how many turn 1 sources do we have? We've got 11. Whoops. 11 turn 1 black sources, plus this 12th here. And if that's not good enough, then we're in bad shape. So I think that'll work. A ton of creatures to trade off. A ton of stuff to survive in the early game. Maybe we want Liliana here. I'm not sure what to cut for it. Yeah, looks like our other cards are just better. So we've got a blue-black control deck featuring a lot of pretty good planeswalkers and an Emrakul. So I'll see you in the matches.